All right, so we back with Cowboys Experience, man. I got my boy Jtuck with me.
Yeah, what's up?
All right, so this is definitely going to be independently shot, obviously on BossCowboySports. But, you know, we talked a lot earlier, man, and we talked about keys to victory. Did you have any other keys? Because I know we were just kind of going through a lot, man. What are some of your other keys that you think go be some of the things that help us pull it out?
Yeah, I think the biggest key, we saw it Thursday night when the Buffalo Bills played Los Angeles Rams. There was a lot of times where they looked like they was in sync, right? Yeah. And because the quarterbacks didn't play all preseason, right? So you can't have this kind of be a warm-up game, right? The Cowboys are going to have to hit the ground running. So penalties, continuity, efficiency, especially on the offensive side of the ball, that's going to be a great key to definitely key in on, because you can't get off to a slow start versus Tom Brady and his Tampa Bay Bucs offense, because they've been together. You know, like besides you have Rudolph kind of coming in and Julio Jones, but for the most part they've been together. So I'm looking for Kellen Moore and this offense to get off to a quick start, because it's always been our Achilles heel when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, because we also talked about running the ball. I want to play a clip real quick, get your thoughts on this clip of Mike McCarthy speaking. I want to change up because I see another key, bro. So y'all give me a second to pull this clip real quick. Then we'll just kind of get into it. Matter of fact, I got another thing I want to talk to you about.
All right.
I'm going to talk to Isaiah about this too when he come over. But check this out, man. Here we go.
You know, one of the overblown storylines was, he's been working at guard. And I kind of wrote down, on the left side how much time he worked at tackle.
He said
college, OTAs, mini camps, and then training camp working at guard. But we got a lot more sample size and experience at tackle. Do you think that's something we got to stay cognizant of? I mean, it's kind of more natural for him to go back to tackle than it would be when he was switching to guard. Does that add up?
Well, I mean, you got to break it down on different levels. I mean, when you're talking about the individual, in his progress, I think it's clearly, if you want him to play one position and get ready to play just there, I mean, that's one conversation. But the cross training, to me, is so beneficial.
Hold on.
And his particular talent, his skill, get ready to play just there. I mean, that's one conversation. But the cross training,
I do content myself,
to me, is so beneficial for all your linemen. And his particular talent, and get ready to play just there. I mean, that's one conversation. But the cross training, to me, is so beneficial for all your linemen. And his particular talent, and his skill set. I mean, playing left tackle from an assignment standpoint is easier than playing guard. So the opportunity to learn guard, just in the classroom component, the mental part of it is so beneficial, to playing tackle.
All right, let's talk, bro. Because
say one thing, action say another.
I'm done. This is why I rock with my boy Tuck right here. Listen, and you picked it up so quick. That's why I love Tuck. Tuck, we got to do more shows, bro.
Hey,
Now, we got to do more shows. Hey. Now, what Tuck just said was big, all right? And this is the pattern that I keep seeing, bro. Mike McCarthy has one desire. They actually do something different. Mm-hmm. He clearly said that cross-training helped all the linemen. Right. But did all the linemen get the cross-training?
Not the most important linemen did not get the cross-training.
It did not happen. So what does that mean,
Tyler Biadasz didn't get no cross-training?
No.
Did we see Terrence Steele play different positions?
No.
Okay. Zach Martin?
No.
Okay.
But it helps them all.
Okay.
It helps. And your head coach said it helps them all. So if your head coach says it helps them all and they not doing it, is he really in control?
He is not in control. Not in control.
So, so I'm not being a Debbie Downer. We still go beat Tampa, but we wouldn't be being honest if we didn't call out the stuff that we hear. And this came out yesterday. Right. We're not talking about something that's a week old. He said this yesterday. He believed in cross training, and he was talking about Tyler Smith. Right. But yet Tyler Smith did not get the cross training reps to tackle. And shout out to Jtuck too. Shout out, because on the Super Show, Jtuck is the one that brought up the cross training idea.
Right. Well, think about it. That Super Show was leading into Oxnard.
Right.
In OTAs, Tyler Smith was cross-training. He's playing a little bit of guard, playing a little bit of tackle. So I think, okay, cool. He's going to get some reps here, get some reps there.
Right.
Try to prepare him just in case something was to happen to Tyron Smith.
Right.
But we sitting there, and I'm watching everything going to Oxnard, and I kept questioning, where's the reps at tackle for Tyler Smith?
Right.
And it just didn't happen. So here we are, a day away, from kickoff, and Tyler Smith did not get prepared to play a left tackle, but here we are. But I feel like he's going to play solid because I know Tyler Smith kind of came and said like that's his position or whatnot. But hey, this is the NFL level,
right?
And so you got to show and prove. But yeah, that whole conversation about cross training,
it's obvious.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and see, you got to be in a loop. This is why you also want to stay with independent YouTubers like Jtuck, like myself, because you're not going to even hear a lot of people talk about this,
right?
But this is extremely important. So it's a couple of times, I'm going to be honest, to where I felt like McCarthy had his power taken. First, he had his power taken when he was elected to have to work with Kellen Moore. That was one. The second time, I remember him having his power taken, and he was talking about the power of Amari Cooper getting his targets, and he said he want him to be targeted. Was he ever targeted?
Never targeted.
He was never targeted. At the third time, I felt like he was overruled by front office was with Avion Collins.
Right.
Because it came out through Todd Archer. Todd Archer talked about that Mike McCarthy was high on Avion Collins. But did he get the cross-training reps?
Nope. Nah.
So how do you be a head coach
Yeah.
and you don't have the power to be a head coach? And also, shout out to 105.3 The Fan for that clip. We wouldn't have this talk if it wasn't for them.
Right.
But how do you do it?
And I feel like when it comes to Mike McCarthy, his hands are tied behind his back. Because one, as a man, you want to keep a job.
Right.
But he is not the voice in the locker room. The players know that. The fans know that. The media should know that. Like,
I don't even think the fans know that, Tuck.
Well,
I think we know that because
the
we.
fans that watch this channel.
Oh, true. The fans that watch your channel and my channel know that.
They know because, like.
But the majority of the fans, I don't think they have no idea that Mike McCarthy hands are tied.
And this is what I'm trying to tell Cowboys fans. If Mike McCarthy was in full control, this Cowboys team would look a lot different.
I think so.
Because even thinking about it, from the video that I did from Kellen Moore about the buffet style offense, that's not Mike McCarthy's approach. He's a West Coast guy.
That's not. Keep talking.
He's a
That's
West
the
Coast
fifth time he was overruled. To
Yeah.
to this point, man. See, Tuck, we
Yeah.
gotta do more shows, bro.
Yeah.
See, listen. Because, see, I know what you're talking about. Let me explain what he's talking about. So, Mike McCarthy came out in the offseason where he was talking about a West Coast approach and matchup football.
Right.
They not talking about matchup football.
Right.
When you hear Stephen Jones talk, Jerry talk, and Kellen talk, they still talking no ID offense. Can you explain no ID offense?
So no ID offense goes back to what Kellen Moore did at Boise State. And so what it's really about is about not having a star player, because we all know Boise State didn't have star players. They had what Alabama and Texas and all these other schools had. So it's about finding the matchups, outweighing the numbers, and taking benefits of what the defense gives you.
Right.
Now, here's the problem with that, Cowboys Nation.
Listen.
It allows the defense to dictate what you're going to play call.
Oh.
I can give you this type of look. You're going to try to respond to it. So people picked up, defensive coordinators picked up on what Kellen Moore is doing. So we looked at numerous occasions. Mike McCarthy comes out and says, I want to get Amari Cooper of Baltimore. You have Amari Cooper one-on-one the island. Well, that's not what Kellen Moore's philosophy says. Right. And so Dak Prescott was taking other reads elsewhere. And so that's the problem when it comes to Dallas. I feel like the Cowboys have really cut Mike McCarthy's wings short, where he really is not in control. He's not in control with the personnel. We heard conversations about the draft picks. You know, he's not in charge with the play calling. So what does Mike McCarthy really do? Mike McCarthy is a quarterback guru, and he's an offensive play caller. He's doing zero in Dallas. What is his value?
His hands are tied.
Right.
And so this is why you got to stay. He going to be back. Tuck will be back in a minute, but his hands are truly tied.
Right.
And it's going to be listening to Jtuck listen to Boss Cowboy Sports, following both of our channels. Go ahead and plug your channel real quick.
Yeah, CFO Sports. You can go ahead to my channel. We also got the new merch store, CFOSportsTalk.com. Y'all can follow me on all social media platforms at Jtuck151. I'm about to go do something for the radio. But, like, it's a beautiful day out here, Cowboys Nation. I'm coming right back.
He gonna be right back.
I didn't even know my guy was going to be out here. I was like, is that Boss?
Yeah,
hey, we got a lot to talk about.
We got a lot. Trust me, I got too much queued up. So, man, I'll see you in a minute. I'll be holding it down while you're out. All right. But, yeah, man. All right, so we are sitting here, and we're privileged to have Mr. Isaiah and no other than the man himself, Mr. Novacek. Now, let me get Mr. Novacek in the screen a little bit more. There he is. There you go. No, you fine. I'll work it out. So, first of all, I want to tell Cowboy Nation about your business. Please tell them about your whiskey business so that we can know how to support you.
Well, thank you for that. Yes,
absolutely.
It's been it was about 6 years ago. My wife and I were in a hunting blind, and I was like, you know what? I'd like a whiskey of my own brand. You know, I had the name picked out, 84 proof.
Makes sense to me.
Because of my number,
right?
And so we end up just going around and you know the hard part, you know, tasting whiskeys to see which one I like. But finally, it came to fruition a couple years ago, and a year and a half ago, we sold our first bottle in March.
Yeah, and I'm gonna make sure that when I show this, that I'm gonna promo it and give you a whole visual, and I'll send it to you as well. But I want to talk football. Obviously, that's what we're here to talk about. Now, obviously, it was a lot of talk yesterday. Mike McCarthy spoke, Jerry spoke, and Steven spoke. I'm gonna play a couple of clips, and I just want us to talk through it because some of it got my attention, especially this one right here. Here we go. This is from Mike McCarthy.
You know, one of the overblown storylines was, you know, he's been working at guard. And I kind of wrote down, you know, on the left side how much time he had worked at tackle, college, OTAs, mini camps, and then training camp, working at guard, but we got a lot more sample size and experience at tackle. More natural for him to go back to tackle than it would be when he was switching to guard. Does that add up?
Well, I mean, you know, you got to break it down on different levels. I mean, when you're talking about the individual, you know, and his progress, you know, I think it's clearly, you know, if you want him to play one position and get ready to play just there, I mean, that's one conversation. But the cross training, to me, is so beneficial for all your linemen, you know.
Okay, and I remember, Isaiah, you brought up that there was a lack of cross training and training camp for Tyler Smith and Michael Irvin, as well as Nate Newton talked about Eric Williams, how he struggled originally when he didn't get the cross training reps or when he was thrown out there at right tackle. So I wanted to get both of you takes on that because Cowboy Nation got questions.
Well, he knows a lot more about being out there on that edge than I do.
Yeah, I want to definitely.
In terms of, you know, the lack thereof, they had a game plan. They had an A, B, and a C plan, and unfortunately, they're all the way down to C. Yeah. You know, you think about the guy that they brought in last year, Josh Ball. That was their left tackle backup, and then he's not the guy that they expected him to be at this point in time in his second year. And then you also think about their other backup plan, you know, Matt Waletzko. Well, that backup plan didn't work either because he had his shoulder popped out, his sublexing in and out. So that's both your B and your C's are gone, and now you're all of a sudden having a break glass scenario and bring your left guard, who you were expected to play tackle at some point in time, but now you got to bump him out there, and unfortunately, you know, he hasn't had the reps that you would like for him to have at this point in time.
You know, that and that's one thing that if you can be rounded and you can be in that situation where you can play a lot of different positions, you know, that is so important, especially in today's game when people get hurt like that. It's just one thing you have to do. I mean, when you don't have choices and you're down to that number C plan, you just got to go out and play. And that's one of the things that, you know, we were very, very good at. If we need to bring somebody in and to play center, John Giesick would step in and do that. And a great team can overcome that. And that's one thing that they have to understand is when you are an NFL player, you have to be able to do what it takes to play that position, no matter what that position is. And your teammates have to help you out. And great teams do that. They can throw people in situations that they're not comfortable with, and they can be successful at it.
And I want to just be honest. It seems like there's a debate amongst fans, maybe even front office, maybe even coaches on cross training. I am pro cross training. I feel like Steele should also be cross training. That's my personal opinion, mainly because I think Peters is similar to Tyron Smith, to where he could get injured. So if he's injured, what is the plan and a cross-training plan? Because there are fans that want linemen to stay put. I'm of the opinion that you should always try to work in some practice reps for emergencies. What are you guys' thoughts on it, especially as pro players?
Well, personally, I think that I should have been a quarterback. They didn't, at one time though, when Rodney Pete, if he would have went down, I was your man. I took snaps. I was your man there. So yeah, we had a great plan. That would have been a great. We'd start running the wishbone. I know that.
Yeah, exactly. Downhill. No, the cross training element is important. I mean, I was a Swift Army knife. I played more than one thing, but the thing is, everybody is mad at the Cowboys and thinking that they didn't have a plan. We just went down the line in terms of guys that they did have a plan.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunate that things just haven't panned out the way in which you put it on paper. That's football. You got to be able to move and shake as the things take place. But in terms of Peters, the versatility that he presents, I know everybody brings him in. He's an all-pro multi, 9-time all-pro tackle, all those things. I personally think that he should be worked in at guard and let the rookie be on the outside. That's my preference.
Wow.
Seemingly because at his age, with his understanding of the game, you want to put the least amount of strain on him as possible. And if you're going to, the interior of your line is not necessarily shored up, right? You've been working Tyler Smith at guard. Now you bump him out to tackle. Connor McGovern, he's a consistent player. Tyler Biadasz is still figuring things out. So if there is one aspect that if I could shore up one part of my line, it would be the interior line, because then at least Dak always have an opportunity to step up. Then at least Zeke and those guys always have an opportunity to come downhill. Instead of having a solid player, question mark, solid player, question mark, I'd rather have the interior set up. And if for some reason I can't even think all this Tyron Smith actually gets healthy somehow, some way, then you bring him back down to left tackle, and then your whole left side looks like the three guys from 300.
And you just never know when you put that group of individuals together, because it's not just one side or the other. It's that whole line. Those five guys
Working
up
unisons.
front.
Yep.
You never know which player is in what position, that all of a sudden it all just makes sense.
Yep.
It all puts in a sync. I mean, when we had Kevin Gogan at guard, I mean, there's no way Kevin's supposed to be playing guard, but man, it worked out just like that.
Yeah.
And so that offensive line, when you get those five guys right up there and they play well as a team together,
that's all that matters.
That thing, you can't stop that.
Yep.
So I know Cowboy Nation, they want to also focus on solutions. I personally feel like Tyler Smith has been put in a hard situation, but I think he's a pro that's going to get out of it. How should the Cowboys and Kellen Moore help him with play calling, as well as situational, like moving running backs? What should they do to help with this game plan versus Tampa? Y'all coaching right now.
I think there's two things that are going to help him. I think the type of defense that Todd Bowles runs, the 3-4, is going to help him a ton in terms of his responsibilities at that tackle position. He's not going to be as stressed as he would have been if he had a typical 4-3 defense. He's not going to be facing real defensive ends. He's going to be facing more of a D tackle. Akeem Hicks, and Golston. Those are going to be the guys that are lining up at him. Those are 300-pound guys, so he'll be okay there. It's easy to watch those fast linebackers around the outside than it is to try to take on a bull rush from some of the bigger guys. And then also, his position. He's like the Dalton Schultz and Ferguson chip in and combo blocks. Those are all going to be things that are going to help him out.
What do you mean chipping these guys? Get those tight ends out on a route, man.
I know.
Thank you.
Well, first thing is they have to be successful on first down.
Yep.
That is always the number one thing. And so they got to switch up and do things that will make them successful first down. It's a lot easier 2nd and 5 than 2nd and 10, and that opens up the entire offensive scheme when they are successful first down. So that's the one thing that they have to. They have to mix it up. They have to throw. They have to run. And then they have to always do the things that is successful and not get away from that.
I want to spin it just a little bit because, listen, Novacek is truly my favorite tight end. I'm not joking. We used to actually sit around a dinner table and just enjoy his game. I said this the last time we sat down, that he was better than Michael Irvin until Michael Irvin really took off. He was the go-to guy. A lot of people don't remember that, but you was. I want to get your opinion.
Michael's second.
Yeah, Michael's
class. He's second.
But I want to get your opinion on the tight ends, and then you get your opinion on the tight ends, because the tight end room, though it's young, most would say that it seems to be better. But I wanted to get obviously your opinion as a legend to the Dallas Cowboys, and just give us your opinion on what you're seeing with this new group of tight ends.
Well, first of all, throwing to the tight end is a shorter throw.
Thank you.
Throwing to the tight end is usually a higher percentage completion ratio. And so if you use that early, if you use that, that first down deal or that second and short, if you use that, and these guys are good enough to get open, they're good enough to play in this game. And so when you get to that aspect, then that changes your defense, because it's always the same thing. The longer the defense stays on the field, the more they get tired, the more the offense gets a second wind, and it's just harder on them. So that is always something, I've always said, and we're very, very blessed to have amazing wide receivers and to be able to do the things we do. Awesome running game, as you know. But when you really have to utilize, when you really want something to work and really get things going and break that defense, you got to use tight ends.
Yeah, totally agree.
So, real quick, shout out to Cowboy Experience. This is a wonderful location. We are literally sitting in the battleground right now. We have the battleground stadium right behind us. First of all, what's your thoughts on Cowboy Experience? And talk about the partnership and giving back to the community, guys.
Yes, first of all, it's blessed to be able to come out here and be appreciated and get the support. We gave a lot as players, but we received a lot in terms of the fans. So anytime we get a chance to be forward facing with them, it's absolutely awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. We are all on a pedestal. Our pedestal might be with 1,000 people out in front of us, or our pedestal might be with one person out in front of us. And when we can give back to that individual or individuals, then that's what we're put on this earth for. And God has put us there, and it's up to us to use that pedestal to do the right thing.
Do y'all have time for one more question? Because I know y'all giving overtime right now. This recording,
Yeah,
so if y'all say no, I'm not going to be mad.
It's bad.
All right, now this is also a good friend of mine, Jtuck. He's also another YouTuber.
Huge fans.
All right, so Tuck, you got the next question, but I'm going to play this clip from Stephen Jones. This might be a little bit spicy. All right, here we go.
It is remarkable that you guys lost 3 or 4 really fine players and you still have one of the most talented rosters in the league. I don't know if that's ever been done, Stephen.
Well, I'd start with, we would have not had other guys here had we chosen different directions. I mean, I know for sure we wouldn't have had, we wouldn't be looking at, Fowler and guys like that on our team. You're probably not necessarily looking at having a number one and a tackle had you made a different decision, and Tyler Smith, which we're certainly glad that we do, losing both, losing Connor Williams as well. I mean, you certainly feel when you lose a Connor in the IL, you need to do something about that in the draft, and we certainly did with Tyler, and thrilled with his progress. Obviously going to be our starting left tackle there day one. Some of those things, I think caused us to make moves that I think we'll look back on and say, hey, I'm glad we made that move. And certainly, if we keep Amari, I don't know that we're able to re-sign Gallup. And I know
Wait a minute. I was with him on Collins because I feel like Steele is better. I was all the way with him on the defensive end because I feel like as a group we can end up being better. But when he just said we wouldn't have signed Michael Gallup if we wouldn't have got rid of Cooper, that's different. And that's the first time I've ever heard that. because nobody ever heard him say that the purpose of getting rid of Cooper was to keep Gallup until yesterday. He's making a big bet right there. So we got two pros, and my question is,
You can't handle the truth.
so what's your thoughts?
I'm not sure if that's exactly what he was meaning when he said,
Okay.
but I was not in agreement to letting Coop go personally.
Right. Yeah.
I think he just adds too much value to your team.
Yeah.
I think he was underutilized, and they actually ended up making him a scapegoat for some of the decisions that they made. He's a player, and he wanted the ball. He stayed quiet. That's one of the most docile individuals that just shows up with his work pill and just goes to work. And you saw his frustration come out last year in some of the comments he made, and they just didn't use him the way they should have. I think that this offense doesn't truly believe in a number one receiver. I think they'll put a guy in a number one spot like a CD, but I don't think they truly, in a Kellen Moore system, I think he believes that his system is more important than a number one.
Yeah,
so
agreed.
with that being said, they decided to move on from Coop.
Well, first of all, in today's game, most wide receivers do not know how to run a route properly. Amari Cooper did. He was exceptional at running routes. And there was a time when I was talking to Des Bryant about running routes, and I said, Des, you are amazing when you catch the ball. I mean, you're very, very difficult to bring down. I said, what would happen as when you run the route and the guy's on you and you catch the ball and he's tackling you right away, as opposed to if you can shake him, you can do whatever, you can get a breakaway and you got 2 yards on the guy and you catch the ball, how many more touchdowns are you going to have? And he thought and looked at me, he's like, wow. So we started working on running routes. Nobody needed to do that with Amari Cooper. Right. Because he was so good. Why would you get rid of someone like that?
Yeah.
And that was one of the things that just...
Hey, this gonna be a case study based on what he just said. It's gonna be a case study, and he put a lot of faith in Gallup, and I'm not mad at that.
No,
but it's gonna be at the end of the season.
Too.
We gonna add it up. We gonna have to just add it up. We gonna say, okay, you made the bet, you spoke out, and you said that you got rid of Cooper for Gallup. Let's add it up at the end. What's your thoughts?
Well, you remember, boss, what they said going into camp. The reason why they moved on was due to availability. Now, let me ask y'all this. Who was more available, Amari Cooper or Michael Gallup last year?
Cooper.
I don't
and now.
The comparison right now from that clip is a direct correlation between Coop and Gallup. That's not the real conversation. The real conversation is the fact that they have to sign CD to an extension at some point in time. So that's why Coop's not here.
Futuristic versus the current.
Because I would have took both. Yeah. Right, because both on the field are obviously scarier than just one. Right. Because you can't just focus on one.
Right.
Did you have some questions for the guys?
Yeah, Jay, I'm gonna start with you. So we got 2 young rookie tight ends, and Peyton Hendershot.
I already asked him that.
Oh, you beat me too. You know I love the tight end position. You already talked about tight end position.
But we did not talk about Hendershot. Hendershot is Linda Wells, the tight ends coach for the Cowboys, is somebody that's pretty close to me. And he's really excited about Hendershot. Yeah. Nobody's talking about him because he wasn't the number 1 draft guy from this year's class at that position. Obviously Ferguson was, but in terms of once he has a ball in his hands, Ferguson's the most dangerous guy at that position on his team.
So do you expect to see more 12 formation utilage with Ferguson and Dalton Schultz?
I think you're going to see a lot of 12 personnel just until Tyler Smith becomes more confident at that position. Yeah. I think that's what's going to dictate whether or not they do 12 personnel or not.
Well, this is it for me because I thank you guys for working out with Cowboy Experience. One of the things that stood out and my number 1 issue this whole offseason was Kellen Moore. Now, because he has the number 1 offense in yards and points. But Michael Irvin spoke out. Emmitt Smith spoke out. Jimmy Johnson spoke out. Aikman spoke out about the lack of adaptability in his system and not really targeting playmakers. My suggestion is this. Keep your system, Kellen, but you have to be able to turn a knob that when that's not working, go at your stars. I want to get you guys' opinion on that because we heard from the other, Hall of Famers and legends. We want to get you guys on record on this.
I like to refer this to as playing basketball.
Okay.
If you got a guy that's all of a sudden hitting from threes,
go at him.
Give him the ball and let him shoot.
I'm gone. You can have my seat. I heard enough.
If somebody, simple deal. When we were playing Green Bay, they did not want Michael and Alvin to catch the ball deep. They did not want Emmitt Smith to run. So they rolled those corners up, played that cover 2, and nobody covered me. So we just threw the ball to me, and it was easy.
Oh, man.
Okay?
Simplify the game.
Yeah. I remember in a playoff game, I caught 11 passes. That was the record for the Dallas Cowboys in a playoff game, most receptions. The next week, Michael Irvin broke it with 13. But for 1 week.
I told you.
I'm telling you now.
You was the best.
Yeah, buddy. But why not? If they're going to give you something,
take it. Now we have Novacek on record.
Yeah.
Ditto.
All right, there it is. Well, thank you guys. Hey, it was a pleasure. Thank y'all for giving y'all blood to the Cowboys. I greatly appreciate it. And Novacek is truly my favorite. I'm not kissing up to him. This was truly my family dinner table guy. We literally used to have a lot of dinner table talks about you, so it's always an honor to talk football with you.
I love the tight end position.
Y'all still getting that check from my mom?
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
Thanks, guys.
All right, guys.
Thank you.